telling my friend it's her fault for getting married and having kids late because the world won't wait on her now. I, 39F, have a 6-person girl group since college, 3739F, and that includes Mary, 38F. We've been close throughout the years and have been at milestone events for each other. Mary just had a baby and is completely fitting the crazy new mother stereotype. In college, Mary has always been someone who had to make it known that she was unique/different from the rest of us, which wasn't as draining then as it has become now. For starters, all other women in our circle got married between the ages of 22 to 27, and we all have multiple kids. So the 5 of us were able to experience those milestones alongside one another and got closer as we shared similar lifestyles. Mary was very adamant on not settling until her 30s because she wanted to travel and have different experiences, which we all supported. Regardless, she would continue to make comments about how she's so lucky, unlike us, because we're tied down with husbands and babies. I think this is where she grew resentment towards us because we were in different places in life and she was upset we couldn't have our group be similar to how it was in college. Then into our mid-30s it became a whole saga of she's getting older and can't find a husband because all the good men are married or divorced with kids. When she finally got married, many could not attend because it was a destination event and child-free during COVID. This caused a fight because she said how she was there for us during our weddings but we couldn't put aside a week for her. We had all told her how we wished we could, but it simply was not financially feasible and didn't logistically work with our kids. But she just refused to hear us out and was simply so inconsiderate about our lives and families, saying we were horrible friends. Now, Mary just gave birth to her first child and I was very excited for her. The only issue is that she moved from our state to a very remote place that's only accessible by a 6-hour car ride. Her baby is 6 months old and none of us have been able to go up to visit her. I think she's been having a wrong idea of what a village is and has essentially demanded in our group chat that we come up for the holidays and help her out because she's having a hard time adjusting to mom life. But this would entail we all take a week off, arrange childcare, figure out transportation, and book hotels during the holidays. It's gotten to the point where she's posting cryptic messages on Facebook bashing fake friends who won't be there for her. As much as I wish I could, I cannot physically support her in the way she needs me to do in this stage of life. It would have been completely different if she still lived in our city and this was earlier in life when we had less commitments/priorities. So I told her this and that if she was hoping for this big village and constant support, she should have thought about that when planning out her life because we can't all just pause our lives for her. Comment 1. ESH. Your friend is delusional for her demands, but this has nothing to do with your timelines. If she had kids when you did, you would have had your own little kids to take care of. If anything, your kids are now around 10, so it should be easier to take off a week. The issue is that she lives too far away for you to help support her. It was as rude for you to shame her for having standards and living her life as it was for her to shame you for not being able to attend her wedding. If you want to be in her life, I hope you send her baby gifts. If you don't, no harm, no foul. Comment 2. YTA for not attending the wedding. I agree that you can't take a week off, but you could have managed to attend the wedding. You can also visit her for 2-3 days if your kids are a little bit older. Take them to friends or family over the weekend or manage something else. At least try to compromise. If no one showed up for her wedding day and she doesn't get any support with her baby, I think you aren't really friends. Comment 3. YTA. Not because you can't travel, but for the way you are talking about your supposed friend. You are not better than her because you did it younger. You sound bitter and jealous that she didn't do things the same way you did. She's your friend and a new mom and is asking for support. Either be there for her or stop leading her on in the friendship. Sending bride a bill? So I, 32F, am a stay-at-home mom to 5 kids ages 13, 11, 6, 3, and 18 months. My friend, let's call her Stacy, 30F, recently got married. About 6 months before her wedding, she asked me to make 75 cupcakes for her wedding. Baking is a hobby of mine and I have gotten very good at it. I agreed even though I'm not part of the wedding party and was doing this as a friend. Stacy also had 5 other people helping make the food. Well, she calls me 3 weeks before the wedding and asks me to make one hungry pan of baked beans. At this point I'm still under the impression that it is going to be a smallish wedding, so I say sure. So fast forward to 1 week before the wedding and she calls me and tells me the guest list has grew slightly. She then tells me she needs 3 huge pans of baked beans and wants me to use a specific recipe instead of my own, and now needed 300 cupcakes instead of 75. As well as she doesn't want me to use box mix for the cupcakes, which I had planned to use since I'm buying all the ingredients for everything I'm making, she wants them to be homemade including the frosting. Told me I was a lifesaver and ended the call before I had a chance to say anything. So for 2 days before the wedding I was in my kitchen baking and cooking, while also taking care of my kids. So the wedding comes, I take everything to the venue and helped set everything up. Fast forward to about a week after the wedding, a mutual friend called me to ask about my thank you basket from Stacy. Come to find out she sent everyone a thank you basket for helping with the wedding, including the other people that helped with making the food, except me. I called her and talked with her. I figured I needed to let her know I had not gotten mine. I know that sounds entitled. I just thought since everyone else had gotten one, maybe mine got lost. That's when she told me that she never sent me one cause I'm a stay-at-home mom, so it was no big deal for me to help with stuff for the wedding, but everyone else had actual jobs, so it was an inconvenience for them to help but not me. I told her that it was hard for me to help as well and to accept a bill in the mail from me, which I did. I charged her for everything I had bought to make the food. I included copies of the receipts, a delivery fee, a setup fee, and charged her for my time to making everything. It totaled to right at $900. Now I have a few mutual friends telling me I'm an A for charging her. Comment 1. She considered your time useless and didn't actually account for the fact that you have to tend your children while making everything for her. It would be one thing to ask for help and show appreciation, but it's another to expect you to help regardless of any changes made and time spent. She doesn't see you as a friend anymore, she sees you as an endless resource. Comment 2. Absolutely NTA. I am so sick of these entitled brides and grooms thinking everyone else is supposed to fund their weddings and lifestyles. How dare she think that because you are at home, you don't work hard? At the very least, she could have sent you a thank you for your effort instead of insulting you. Comment 3. NTA. But honestly, I don't understand why you ever complied with these unreasonable requests. Do you often have trouble saying no? You should take some self-accountability for that and learn from it. ETA, you would have been okay with catering her wedding for free if you had only received a gift basket. I'm kind of wavering to the ESH. Refusing to give back wedding gifts to my mill after my husband passed. My husband passed away about 3 years ago. We were together for 9 years, married for 4 years at the time of his passing. He never had a great relationship with his parents and he was very vocal about that to all of our friends. My husband and I kept our finances very private and did not share much with his parents, as my husband did not want them to be involved. His parents are decently well off and can provide for themselves. We would openly share finances with my parents, and during the term of our marriage, we have taken financial help from my parents when needed, but we have never asked his parents to help us out at any time. My husband and I also had a home that we purchased together while we were engaged. I had some legal issues and his parents did have to sign a document as we did not have a living will. They hesitated and his mom kept making snarky comments about the car I drive and shoes I buy. It was resolved eventually, but I think the process just gave me a bitter feeling. His parents waited to see if their names were listed as beneficiary for any accounts we had, and after it was confirmed that they were not, they stopped contacting me. Last time they spoke to me was 2 years ago. I have started to see someone new over the past year and they are clearly not happy. It's become a why should she have anything from our son mentality. I also lost my mom about 6 months ago. A few weeks ago his parents called and demanded I give them all the wedding jewelry back that was received for our 2017 wedding, as it is not mine and belongs to his mom. Nothing given from any guests or his parents during the wedding was family heirlooms or passed-down jewelry that would have sentimental value. They were just gifts from those who attended our wedding. They did not even show up to my mother's funeral or call me. They are also claiming that the home we had isn't even mine, as their son put the down payment. Untrue, as my parents had helped us put a large amount of the down payment for that home, but my husband never shared that with his parents since we never wanted to make rub it in their faces. They also think that their son funded everything and our entire lifestyle, which is another lie, as we had built our life with money that was made by both of us, not just him. In my perspective, I was married to their son, we both worked, built a life together, and any gifts given to me during my wedding or things purchased between money that their son and I made is not theirs. His mother has been harassing and calling my family, and it has been non-stop comments to the point where she questioned my upbringing that my deceased mother gave me. All my family members think they are disgusting to do this to their son's widow, but it also gets awkward as we are trying to be mindful that they lost their son. My heart still goes out to them for their loss, as I can imagine they are also grieving, but I am just confused. Comment 1. Time to go, no contact. No kids for old Mill to claim, so she has no claim on your life. There is now no reason to stay in contact. If their love for you does not continue because their son died, then you would not be in the wrong to cut these people out of your life. You owe them nothing. Comment 2. NTA, good grief, your in-laws sound like a nightmare. I would get in touch with a lawyer to see if you can get a restraining order on them. I'm sorry for your loss and I hope this gets resolved quickly. Comment 3. NTA, I am sorry for your loss. Grief makes some people bat crap crazy. Lashing out at you and demanding the return of gifts won't bring their son back. These people do not care about you. You need to decide if you are attached to what they are demanding you return, or if you want these people out of your life for good. Every time they start to harangue you, it just picks at the scab of a wound that's healing. Telling my friend with kids that I'm glad the village doesn't exist anymore? I have a friend, Bella, who is late 20s and has a toddler and a baby. She constantly bemoans the fact that the village doesn't exist anymore and people aren't helping her and her partner with their baby the way they used to in past generations, and how selfish it is and how terrible this is society now. She's really bitter her mother won't retire and babysit the kids for free, but her mother is only in her mid-50s and can't afford to retire yet. She constantly complains she can't travel or enjoy her life anymore because she doesn't have a village. After years of this, I told her I'm actually really glad we have moved away from that, because the village that parents romanticize was actually the unpaid labor of women, and as a woman who doesn't want a child, I'm glad that I'm no longer considered socially obligated to babysit other people's kids for free or do household chores for people who chose to have kids in my free time, especially because these people won't pay it forward to me in any way, and if something happened to me, like getting really sick and needing help, they'd use their kids as a reason they can't help me. I also reminded her that the village depended on women not having jobs, and it is a good thing that women can now sustain themselves and aren't forced into dependency on their fathers or husbands. The thing that triggered it was that I went overseas recently for a holiday and to attend a concert of an artist I really like, and she complained about how she doesn't get to these things because the village is off doing things like that. She said I'm just a really selfish child-free person who wants mothers to suffer, but I don't think I was wrong, and then she said I was a bad feminist and a terrible person and hasn't spoken to me since. Comment 1. NTA. So many things, from caring for the sick/disabled, community projects, to helping raise children, was unpaid women's labors that relied on us not being able to work. Yes, it's unfair now that women are expected to work and raise children unless the men are doing an equal share. But in this case it just sounds like your friend wasn't ready for the responsibility of a child. Comment 2. I dunno, I'm leaning NTA since I think she was out of line to call you a bad feminist. But seems kind of like maybe you guys weren't very suited to be friends now that you're both so different. I don't think her complaints about the lack of a perceived support network were really an anthropological argument that needed your rebuttal, but I get why it could frustrate you after a while. I'm child-free and still wish things were different for parents these days, but hey.
I refuse to pay for my daughter's college for making fun of my stepson's injury and condition. I, 44M, am a widow of a previous marriage and so is my wife, 42F. She has a son, 19M, from her previous marriage and I have a daughter, 17F, as well. We dated for roughly 5 years before being married for 3 years now and our kids have known each other since the beginning. No major fights or weirdness besides getting to know someone else as a parent/guardian. My son was a tremendous athlete in basketball, and I used to play in college, at a school I'm sure none of you heard of. Regardless, I know the ins and outs of basketball, and when he asked me to coach him, I was more than happy to. Turns out that he was good, really good. Division I good. My wife is a controller and I'm a pharmacist. Together, we make a very, very comfortable living, but are not rich. So when my son was getting scholarship offers for basketball, I realized we could pay for my daughter's college in full and neither of them would have any student loan debt when they graduate. A plan that I shared with my daughter, which I think was a mistake to begin with. These plans changed when my son tried riding on someone else's motorcycle, with their permission, but with zero training, and got badly injured on an ensuing crash. He lost part of his hand and foot, not life-threatening, but basketball-ending. This happened last year and my son has been in a deep depression that we're desperately trying to bring him out of, but he feels like his entire identity got ripped away in the blink of an eye. He's been in counseling and prescribed medication, but it has not helped thus far. Recently he confided in me that the pills he's on have unfortunate side effects with his libido to virtually zero interest and wants to stop them. I told him the important thing is that he's with us, but he can bring that up with his doctor next visit. Fast forward about 2 weeks. I'm upstairs looking for something in my room and I heard my daughter talking to her friends on her phone about college. The conversation turned towards her brother, and she said she can't wait to be gone. I'm tired hearing her brother cry every day and saying his hand is gross. I knew spirits in the house has shifted since he became injured, but I didn't think she felt this type of way. I was gonna talk to her later about this, but then I heard him say that he can't even get it up while laughing. At that, I was furious. I stormed in her room, took her phone, laptop, car keys and TV out of her room. I told her she should be ashamed of how she's talking about her brother, and he might do something permanent if he heard you talking about him like that. When my wife got home, we talked about what happened, and while she's proud of the way I stood up for my son, she thinks it's too far to also not pay for her college, since we could easily do so. Comment 1. YTA. Your daughter shouldn't have made fun of him obviously, but she's only 17. Frankly, it's his own fault he got hurt, so if he can be forgiven for doing something stupid, then so should she. Comment 2. Huge YWBTA. She's allowed to say whatever she wants when she's freaking venting to friends. Good Lord, from the title I assumed she was saying this to him, as that's the only logical leap to I'm now not contributing to her education at all.